Okay, folks, I'm not too sure if we're coming back or not, but just bear with us. Come on, nonsense is this? Tester one, two, three. Yeah, folks, this is Samson Tola Bumper Radio. Uh, that's what you have if you have teenagers in your house. Can't wait to kick him out. Well, I'm on air, and he decided to unplug my Wi-Fi. Wants to take it in his room so he can play his game. So he knocked me off the air. What am I gonna do? Sue him? Far from it. Let's move on. I'm back on air. Thank you. Anyway, folks, if you just get so please just bear with us, okay? I know you, most of you will understand. I have a teenager in the house. So these are kind of thing you have. I have a 12, no, a 13 and a 15, 16-year-old in the house. 16 boy, 13 girl, 13-year-old girl, 16-year-old boy. So they decided to do this to me. But anyway, folks, I'm glad that you're still on. We're still here. But let's go on. Let's go on. Let's talk about it. The speech. So as I was saying, and I'm going to try to find my footing again. This is where you become, if you're good, like Samson told, it's easier to know where you were before. Okay, let's go back to it. All right. But anyway, on a very serious note, I want to thank you guys, folks. I'm very sorry. We apologize for the brief intermission here. We apologize. This is what we do. Those of us that do these things, we do these things from our studio, whatever area you put your studio, whether it be your home or in a shed or whatever you want to do, but you share something in common with the family. So I'm not gonna, because of the speech, go throw my son in jail because he knocked me off the air. Far from it. But first of all, I want to thank you guys for coming back on. Okay. So anyway, let's keep going. As I was saying, Dr. Weir's speech, I thought it was wonderful. It was wonderful. In his speech, he mentioned about the protest. Now I was explaining to you why I thought the protesters missed the boat the first time, because if they have given whatever information they have about the upcoming protest, I think that particular information would have been part of the speech today, because Dr. Weir would have been forced, literally forced, because he has to make a report to the Liberian people. So by the fact that he met with these people and they have given him something, he's going to tell Liberians that I met with certain group of Liberians who have expressed certain things they want to protest about. He went on, and here's the interesting thing: politics don't have no small politics. Oh, politics are politics. You know what he did? He decided to zing a little bit. You think y'all don't know the Constitution? Let me read the Constitution about your right to protest in this country. And he went and read it. I thought that was very interesting. I thought that was very interesting. Okay. I thought that was very interesting. But anyhow, the speech itself, I thought, I've having had the opportunity to listen to it for the second time. That took away all of my frustration. That took away all of my anger that I had, because I was angry that I felt he didn't address the Liberian people. But far from it, he addressed the Liberian people on so many occasions. He addressed the Liberian people on money issue. He talked about the $16 billion that are missing. He said he understand the Liberian people plight. He understood that the Liberian people, there's no reason. It's clear to him. He said that the struggle the Liberian people are going on. And here's the interesting thing he did. He talks about the economy. And when I read it Saturday, I will play it, then I talk about it. Right now, I'm just going here and there because I want you to know that I went through it. Okay. He talked about the economy. And one of the interesting things that he talked about the economy is this. This is sad. To me, this is very sad. I believe back in 1973, and I have this speech here from Dr. Toba. There was certain part of his speech that resembled Dr. Weir's speech, specifically talking about the economy. He said, first of all, when the war was over, the international community and the partners of Liberia used to send money here. They're no longer doing it. He said, the remittance that we used to get from the diaspora is no longer coming in as much as it used to. He said, the products that we have that generate revenue for us, diamond, gold, in timber, and rubber, and everything, prices on those things are taking a nosedive. So it's difficult now for us to get involved and get the kind of money that we used to make. Interesting thing, and this is why I predicted the other day, and I stand by my prediction still. And if it happens, if it's not true, I will eat crow. I don't mind eating crow, but if you're in this kind of business, you better be ready to eat crow every day because you're not perfect. I told you guys the last time that what's his name? The Minister of Finance, Tuwe, was not. He's not going to survive there. Not literally. He will survive. Nothing going to happen to him. He will be saved. But I mean, for his job, he's not going to be able to keep his job long. I think Tuwe will find reason to say, Dr. Weah, I'm going to resign because the pressure is just too much. He also told us that the guy in charge of the central bank, he's going to retire in 3 months. Mm, good. But what did I say the last time? I said these people are not going to be able to keep their job long. Because this is it. If you are somebody who, in this kinds of business, you should know what's happening. So Dr. Weir decided he's going to overhaul the whole thing. So the whole group going to leave. He's still going to prosecute those, send them to court for those who the government are charged about the whatever sabotaging of economy, whatever. He's still going after it. But here's the news on that one. He said the justice minister have asked for forensic auditing so that those who are responsible for anything else, the law will hold them accountable for those kinds of things. They will be held accountable for their behavior during the money map up and what have you. So, folks, it's still there. We're going to go through it. We're going to enjoy it. It's going to be enjoyable. However, in all that, he told us that the international community are still willing to help us. But we, ourselves, Liberians, should take the lead. We should take the lead in making sure that things don't go wrong. One of the things he stated was, which makes sense. If we keep fighting over ideas that perhaps that we can have a discussion on, except we go on social media and do this and that, the investors are also reading, he says, paraphrasing. And therefore, the investor might not want to come to Liberia as much as they were supposed to. So we should be very careful on how we do it. And here's the other interesting thing he says in his speech. He said, oh man, I love this speech. I love this speech. We as a Liberian have elected to take on ourselves and allow each other to criticize without any kinds of retribution from any government official. He said, we are not in Sudan. Doctor, we are knocked that out of the park. We are not in Sudan, where the government decided to stay for 30 years, he said. We are not in Sudan. We are not in Venezuela, where the international community want to help, but the government refusing for the help to come through. We are not in Venezuela. We're in Liberia, where we, and I'm paraphrasing, we allow people, because of the freedom that we have put in place, not necessarily Dr. Wiana, but the freedom that the Liberian people have allowed themselves to enjoy, which gave us the opportunity to criticize, cuss, whatever you want to do. The freedom is there. He said he has introduced and passed a bill that would decriminalize publishing and criticizing. Folks, and you want to tell me this speech was dull? Far from it. Far from it. I'm just not going into it as much as I would like to because I don't have anybody right now. Come Saturday, I'll have another person inside. After I play it, then I say, what do you think? He gave his view, I gave my view, whoever else is there, give their view, and we'll move on. But I'm just cherry picking right now. So these are the kinds of stuff that I'm so excited about. I thought, to be honest with you, I thought Dr. Weir were going to come on to say people supposed to realize that we're just coming out of war and the security situation is still not that great. Why is it now that people are going out here talking about demonstration and what have you? I was ready to reply because I have done my research and I have video of CDC throwing racks as police, driving them off of street. So good thing he didn't take that route. He decided, say, look at something too. What makes you turn into it because you think he's smart? I come in to make him to eat crow. So he came on and gave us his speech, folks. Very interesting. Once again, I want to ask all of you, don't just take it from me. Please, please, every one of us, I stated it before and I will say again, every one of us, we all went into this speech with a little, some of you, but for me, I went in with a big hidden agenda. Some of you went in a little bit, but not everybody came in with an open mind. Every one of us. When the president is speaking tomorrow, I would like for to hear this. When the president, once you start injecting your own view, what you expect the president to say, then you're no longer neutral. You have taken side. So none of us went into this speech thinking that we're going to be neutral. But of course, maybe there are a few Liberians that went into this speech with an open mind. And so those are the people that are coming out unscathed. They're clean. Every one of us. We got mud on all of us. Because some sedition was hoping that he would be as forceful as possible, that he will condemn the work of the Council of Patriot, that he will condemn them for disturbing the peace, and there was all kinds of stuff. He didn't touch any of that. He decided to take the higher ground above all of us. Dr. Weir, you show once again that you are the father of the nation. And I want to thank you. I really, really do appreciate that. I'm not always in your corner, but on this one, folks, if you don't believe what I'm saying, just go and listen to it. Listen to it. You know what? Let me just for that, I will play you one or two clip, and then maybe uh uh let me just play one. I'll play one or two. Okay. Let me play the other one. I'll play one or two, folks, because I want people to understand. Let me just play these two because, like I said, I have 20 segments to be honest with you. Okay, the reason I did that because I wanted to clearly understand what exactly Dr. Weir was talking about. So I listened to it and said, okay, that's fine. Let's listen to this other one. Then I listened to it. I said, okay, that's fine. Let's listen to this other one. So this is exactly what I did. So let's play the first one here. The first one is very interesting. Uh, let's listen. Let's listen, folks. And please, It's interesting. I'm gonna play two for you, but I will come back Saturday and I'll play these two again. But at that time, I will have more to say about it. But let's listen to this. The first one here. Let's listen. What is he talking about here? Let's
This
listen.
is not Sudan, where one man ruled for 30 years and now the military is in control. This is not Venezuela, where citizens are denied their rights, where the legislature is unable to play its role, and humanitarian aid is blocked from reaching people in desperate need. This is not Sudan, where one man ruled for 30 years and now the military is in control. This is not Venezuela, where citizens are denied their rights, where the legislature is unable to play its role, and humanitarian aid is blocked from reaching people in desperate need. This is not Sudan, where one man ruled for.
There we go. This is not Sudan, where the legislature are unable to perform their duty. Here in Liberia, the lawmakers they have the right to speak out. I'm not too sure if they're utilizing that right. That's a different subject matter. You cannot hold Dr. Weah responsible if these grown men and women will not wrap themselves in the Constitution and speak out with respect to another branch of government. Instead, they want to be yes, man, and yes, sir. Then why will you now blame Dr. Weah on that? Let's go on. Let me play another one. Let me play another one, and then I can go on with my big mouth. Samson to Labron Public Radio, folks. Let's listen again.
With the help of our regional and international partners, we overcame both war and the disease. Liberia has since remained a haven of peace and has undergone a successful democratic transfer of power. Today, the peace and security of this country is in the hands of Liberians themselves. After the withdrawal of all United Nations troops in 2018. Today, we have a multi-party active democracy in which political dissent or criticism is tolerated. Today, we have unprecedented press and media freedom and have decriminalized free speech by law. Today, Liberia is a democracy where civil society groups and organizations can advocate openly for issues they care about. Today, Liberia is a democracy in which our integrity institutions monitor our implementations of law and policy.
That's a very interesting one. At the very end, our institution have been empowered to follow our practices, our behavior, things we do in this country. The institution are set up to watch us and make sure they correct us. Interesting. Interesting, folks. Interesting. That's what I want you to go and read the speech and listen to it again. Listen to it again because, like I said, I got 20 pieces like this, 20 of them. But of course, I want people to come in and watch it on Saturday because I'm going to be dissecting it word for word. Samson to Labron Paborito. Folks, the reason why I'm excited this afternoon is this. Even as much as I'm not a seditious, I don't believe some of the tactics that CDC will employ and stuff like that, like the Jefferson Kochi and the Moluba Malu. Because for me, if you behave like that, it just shows that you have nothing to offer. If you have something to offer, you meet the opposition in the intellectual forum. You don't go carrying 200-300 people behind you to go walk from City Hall to. What are you doing that for? What are you doing that for? I thought you call yourself a political gladiator. I think he called himself. Why can't you meet the opposition in the intellectual forum and have a discussion? So the point that I'm making here is this. The people that wrote this speech, they just bring that kind of excitement out of people like me because I'm a political junkie. It doesn't matter where they come from. As long as it's good, I'm there. If it's bad, I'm against. Simple as that. I don't have to be a seditious to be excited of the president of the Republic of Liberia will lay out. Let me play that again, folks. Listen to this. Today, he says, our country, in our country, there's no, you know who I am, that you don't want writing anything. You know how many people have threatened to sue Front Page Africa in Dr. Weah led government. You know how many people have threatened to sue Front Page Africa? And where did it go? Because of this, what he just wrote, what he just stated here this afternoon, has been the main reason these people have not been able to go to court. Let me play that again. It's very important because I'm in a business. I'm in a business, and this is also it affects me very greatly. So let's see. Let's hear it.
With the help of our regional and international partners, we overcame both war and the disease. Liberia has since remained a haven of peace and has undergone a successful democratic transfer of power. Today, the peace and security of this country is in the hands of Liberians themselves after the withdrawal of all United Nations troops in 2018. Today, we have a multi-party active democracy in which political dissent or criticism is tolerated. Today, we have unprecedented press and media freedom and have decriminalized free speech by law. Today, Liberia is a democracy where civil society groups and organizations can advocate openly for issues they care about. Today, Liberia is a democracy in which our integrity institutions monitor our implementations of law and policy.
Our institution monitor our policy and practices. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And since I'm not going to be able to play all 20 segment of this particular speech, I will try to open the line. So those of you that want to make a point, you can make a point. But this is an intellectual forum. Since I've been on here, I'm going to almost an hour now. I've not insulted anybody. I might not agree with that view, and I don't expect you to agree with my view either. But I'm not going to insult. Because perhaps I think even if I don't know the English language, I will speak Kran. I will not curse you. I will speak Kran. If I can't speak the English, I will speak Kran. But I'm not going to insult. So I'm asking you, if you're going to make a comment, please let us be respectful to each other, whether it be the president or whatever. This is an intellectual forum where we come here to have a platform and be able to discuss issues that are affecting all of us. And here's one thing I want every one of us to know. Every one of us that come to the media platform and what have you, we all have stake in that country. Nobody have more stake than any other person. Nobody is more Liberian than any other person. We all are Liberian. And as such, we will expect all of us to be given that opportunity to express ourselves freely and with respect. Samson to Labron Pabrito. Let me try to open my line and see those of you that want to make a comment, and you can make a comment. Because, like I said, I hope Mr. Soul will be on here tomorrow, and he will be able to give us some more interesting conversation. Okay. All right. Let me pull it up. Mr. So, if you're listening, please put my number up there. If you can help me out, I appreciate it. Folks, this is Samson To. Mr. So and myself been on this thing here for those of you that have been watching the regularly now, you know now that Mr. To is incapable of pinning his own number on Facebook. He's an engineer, but he can't do engineering. I just give it to you as it is. Let's go on. 916 913 1236. Give me a call. Give me a call and express your view. Once again, I'm excited. Please contain my excitement. See, things that I'm saying here tonight that are not right to your ears, please come and express yourself. Things that I'm saying, maybe I'm missing a point, maybe I'm missing certain thing. Please call me and express yourself, and let's get a conversation going here. Okay. And once again, but before any of you call, here's another interesting thing. You see, these are things that I do. I try to pay attention. Few weeks back, Darius Dillon was on here, and he had one young kid who was working in the previous government in the finance ministry. And this young man took almost an hour explaining, and every point he made within that 1 hour time made sense and is exactly the thing supposed to be. So Dr. Weir most likely must have been listening, and he picked up on this young man comment. And some of the comment the young man made, they just paraphrase it, but you can tell it's the same thing that the young man was trying to advise Dr. Weir and people. Dr. Weir made that part of his speech was from this young man. And let me play that now. Let me play it. Let me play it, folks. I think we need to hear that. We need to hear that. So if the section is in order and you give me a call, I will call it out and go to your phone. But let's hear. I think it's Alu. I still don't remember this young man. Alu. But let's listen again, folks. And these are things that we Liberians. This is what Dr. Weir is saying. Come together. I hope that Dr. Weir is sincere in his pronouncement, because what he stated here are so true and so good that I hope, because he said even the bank governor position, he said it doesn't matter what political party you belong to, it doesn't matter female or male, it doesn't matter whether you live in Liberia or you live abroad, apply and they will look and they will assess your character, they will assess your qualification, and if you qualify you will get employed. I love that. Let's listen to this young man from that perspective.
Aliu, Aliu, sorry to
Aliyu,
bring you
Aliyu
on.
is here.
Don't try me this time around. The boy accusing me of bringing people on that I know, but I've tried to bring other people on as well, and I can't get them on.
Yes, I'm on.
Aliu, problem?
Yeah, you getting me now?
Yeah, problem, solution, fire.
Okay. You know, Dylan, let me start first by coming forth with some information. Firstly, at least for the information of at least for the viewing public, I worked in the public sector for 10 years. 10 years, and up to for in the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning for 7 years, and 4 of those years I was the Assistant Minister for Expenditure. So I actually really understand and a lot of the issues going on, and also just sitting back and looking at what are some of the things that are going on. I really feel for the guys that are in public finance, that are in public management now, because I listened to Lester Tennis speaking. I think Lester was very much truthful. If you ask me, he was very truthful. One, because if you look at the economy now, all of the structural issues he's talking about, they are all long term. You can't address any of those things in the short term. And secondly, from all indication, it appears that they have not really drawn up any really robust plan to address those issues. So you cannot speak to those issues. But I want to let the people know, and to let folks in the government know, that there are actually short-term solutions to some of the things that we're facing. The first thing that we have to look at is, how did we get here? When, despite the bad growth forecast, the economy wasn't growing when the government took over, but the economy was much better than it is today. In fact, it's getting far worse. There's the problem. And I told you earlier before I went up that I want to address this issue from a public finance management perspective. Because when you want to talk about how the government is able to fund investment activities, fund productive activities in the economy, it has to be able to generate resources to do that. If you look at that, like Liberia, the nature of our budget, government raise resources through domestic revenue and through partner financing, and spend those money in the economy. And the way the government spends the money in the economy also helps to generate revenue for the government. But now there's the problem that we have. When the government took over, the instant risk, in fact, and I actually made this point known to some of the folks in the government that I had contact with, that I talked to when the transition was taking place. I told them that the biggest risk to the budget, to public finance, was the risk of the payroll going out of hand. Because why? You have a lot of ministers coming across the government bureaucracy from ministries, agencies, and all of these people were under significant pressure to bring on new people into those bureaucracies. So once you do that, you actually expand the public sector wage bill to a level beyond control. And that is exactly what we have seen. The public sector wage bill has gone up. I agree with Dr. Lester Tenney, that you cannot continuously be reducing the wage bill, the salary of people. But they did that already in July last year when they did the 10 to 15, 10, 7, 8% cut for ministers and directors. They did that already. So they've already done cut. So if they do any other cut, it will be the second cut in a year that they will be doing to payroll, when in fact prices of goods and services are going up. You will be actually stifling the purchasing power of people in order to make sure that they do the kind of investment, the kind of expenditure in the economy that will lead to more growth. So now this is the issue: how the government is preventing itself from doing from addressing some of those issues. Just look at talk to business people that are doing a business with government around. They are not getting paid. Everywhere, all of the business people are complaining they are not getting paid. Even government tenders these days are not competitively bid at. So there are so many issues, and the procurement process signals government relation with the entire business community. So if you have a system in which the procurement process is not open, it's not transparent, you do not have a system where people basically compete in the lowest price and people get contract on the basis of merit, it's basically going to disturb the whole flow. As a result, what you now have in the place is, one, because payroll has gone up, so government now has to devote more resources to payroll. And secondly, because government is not able to adequately fund the operation of government, that is providing fuel, providing stationaries, providing all of those basic things that allow the government bureaucracy to run, it is exactly that money that goes to businesses. So for the very few businesses that are actually doing business with government, that are doing contract for government, they are not also getting paid. So some of these businesses are laying off people. So the first thing the government has to do is to bring confidence in the system. And one way to bring confidence in the system is to go back to a project that we did in 2016, 2017, before we left that ministry. We had this project where the Harvard Kennedy School came with Cadbury and they helped us, and we worked with them. And our whole plan was to actually reduce off-budget expenditure to make sure that government is able to spend its resources based on how the budget is planned. In fact, it was that particular work was pretty much broadcasted all around the world because of the progress we were able to make in a very short time. So what that means is government needed to now make sure that when the budget is passed, you get people to plan their expenditure based on what the budget resources are. So once that is done, ministries can now go ahead and do that procurement when they award contract. When they come to the Ministry of Finance, Finance Ministry will be able to grant allotment. And when the allotment is given to the ministry, the agency, they can go to that vendor can come and get paid. But that whole cycle has now been distorted. So now people don't get paid, and as a result, the public sector confidence in the public sector from the business community has reduced. And because of that, businesses are closing. So you need to firstly get those businesses back. One, government has to put the wage bill under control, and clearly the wage bill is not under control. And because even though, so there's the funny part, AB, the government is saying that they cannot reduce wage bill, and I agree it's going to be very risky to reduce wage bill, but the government keeps adding to the wage bill. So you keep employing people, you keep employing people, and once you employ people, they got to get paid. The wage bill goes up. When the wage bill goes up, for every dollar increment to the wage bill, it is dollar reduction for expenditures that go to investment and other productive activities in the economy. This is common sense. But we continue to increase the wage bill at the expense of those productive investment activities in the economy. So at the end of the day, we can do everything. In fact, this is the reason why you see now that the government is unable to get ministries and talk to ministries. Some people are not even taking pay. Some vendors are not getting paid. All of these issues are creating tension in the public finance management system. I think the first thing the government is, I'm talking this from a purely technical perspective, because I really feel for the colleagues that are actually managing public finance now, because it is really difficult. The biggest problem we have now in the system is everyone, and all of the things I'm saying here, Delon, they are not strange, they are not new. There are colleagues in the Ministry of Finance, they all know these things. But because we have not democratized ideas formation in governance, it's making it difficult. And what do I mean when talking about democratizing idea formation? You need to have a government in which, for example, you have a Ministry of Finance, where the Minister of Finance, by being the Minister of Finance, doesn't mean you have all of the ideas. There are people in that ministry that have been there for 10 years, for 15 years, they've worked there, they have expertise. You need to be able to leverage the skills, the very massive pool of highly credentialed people in that ministry and across government, to be able to use those skills, get the ideas, and work on those ideas to make sure that we solve these problems. But if we want to just come on Facebook every day, this government will succeed, this government will succeed, we can all go quiet and we all join the logic to say this government will succeed. At the end of the day, we are going to suffer in this country. I tell my colleagues, I tell some of the other colleagues, I said the best thing we can do is we all need to come together and put our ideas together to make sure that this economy is turned around. Because if this economy continues like this, all of us are going to suffer. Take, for example, the pay cuts now. Who is the pay cut affecting? It's affecting those who are on public sector payroll. The very people who have been, and I tell you, if this continues, they're going to have additional pay cut. So the government needs to have a freeze on payroll. One, the government needs to have a freeze on new hiring. They have to be clear about that. That is the first immediate step government needs to take. Any other increment to the payroll, any other addition to the payroll has to be, for example, new teachers based on the need that maybe you need to put new teachers to certain areas, or health center, you need to bring health workers on board, or maybe security people that you need to treat additional security people to fill gaps in certain areas. But where you're bringing people in a very normal administrative bureaucracy, public bureaucracy across government, it is scaling and sucking out the real strength of the public sector. So this is the problem that nobody wants to talk about, because when you talk about it, people feel that, oh, okay, you're talking about people's job.
Where you been all night?
I mean, I've been here, but you know, my evening prayer, I had to even cut my evening prayer short because I say I had to come to class today. And, you know, yeah, because I said I had to talk.
I gave you another 20 minutes.
No, seriously.
I gave you another 20 minutes.
Thank you. I really need this time, you know, because and I like the fact that so many people are listening, and we got to talk about these things frankly. Because let me just tell you this: a lot of colleagues, you know, since we left government, you know, we realized that initially we started to talk, we were critical, we started with publishing some reports, for example, through SIPA. The perception was that, oh, you know, people hate the government, they're trying to bring the government down. But just look, take for example, Dylan. All of the issues we raised in the SIPA report, everything has come to pass. Everything. All of the issues we talk about. So what I have done personally, we've been reaching out to some of the officials that we know when these things come up, we go there and advise them. Gentlemen, colleagues, this thing, you have to change code. We have to do things differently. Because at the end of the day, I know very well that some of these things that we're talking about, the minister isn't aware of that. The minister doesn't know how some of these things work. I know very well that some of the very senior people who are making decisions don't know how these things are done. But at the end of the day, we all need to come together. We make sure politics take the back seat. Let's put our arrogance aside. Let's come together. Let's call for some conversation. I call for a national conversation on the economy since last year, June. That we needed to have a national conversation on the exchange rate. The economy was going down the wire. But nobody, in fact, everyone say, oh yeah, maybe this guy looking for a job, or people trying to be noticed, you know. But this is not it. This is not it. So as a result, I was talking about the economy. So once you tend to employ more people, you take away money that's supposed to go into those productive areas. And now because you are taking money away from people that's supposed to go into productive areas, you don't have a situation where government is able to do other things. Take, for example, the president went today to Nukuta and he made announcements. He made announcement about housing. Okay, clearly, it's clear that maybe those funding, the allocation for that may not be in the budget. So the Ministry of Finance people have to now go and look for other resources. Where do you think they're going to take the money from? Some of the other plan programs, they got to go and take money from there in order to make sure that the president's statement. Because one thing I learned when I was in public sector, when you are the deputy or you working for your boss, don't let your boss man's commitment to go in vain. So that's why I always used to make sure when the minister is going somewhere to go speak to some of his colleagues across the government, I had to insist that, okay, minister, you are going there. What are the commitments you want to make? We got to discuss it ahead of time. I will tell him, you can't do this, you can't do this, because we do not have the scope to be able to finance this. We need to have a situation to deal with this. And I tell you this, there is one other very important point that I think the people, everyone needs to know. The advantage the Minister of Finance has today, none of the finance ministers ever under Madam Seli had that advantage. Or whether it was Dr. Sayed, Amara, Gafuan, Burma Kamara, they were working for a former finance minister. They were working from a former IMF World Bank executive, UNDP, who had, somebody who knew so much about the economy and what has to be done. For the current Minister of Finance, you are working for a president who has explicit confidence in you to be able to find a solution to the economy. That's why the president trusts the minister so much, because the president doesn't know how the economy works.
Right.
So it is now the responsibility of the minister to make sure that the best way to protect the president, to defend this president, is to rally the right skills, is to bring the right people together so that we can make the right decisions to solve this problem. But we are not making those decisions. So the government has to reduce, government has to cut back on the, government has to stop the a new hiring of people. Then the second policy that which is much more difficult, and clearly, Dylan, if you look at the size of the current public sector wage bill, it is unsustainable. It doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So the government is going the lazy route. The lazy route is to just reduce people pay. Because the lazy route is you just look at the aggregate payroll and cut, and you have it. They don't want to go the high route. The high route is to make sure for us to start asking ourselves the right question. Can we now embark on a genuine restructuring of our civil service? Do we need the number of people that we find now? I know the reason, and you know the reason they don't want to ask those questions, because by the time they ask those questions, to answer those questions, they will have to start reversing some of the decisions they have taken over the last 1 year, 3-4 months. You know, because a lot of the people they have hired around, ordinarily they should not be in those institutions. You know, so the government actually scored a spectacular own goal on the economy, because when the government came on board, they formed a difficult situation. The option they had was to start immunizing the economy by taking the right decision to stop that. But they didn't do that. They said, okay, that's our time now. So let's employ our people. They added to the public sector wage bill. Now, when they started adding the public sector wage bill, we knew that there was implosion. So when the implosion happened, everyone said, oh, no, we got to cut salary. Trust me, if they decide to leave the public sector wage bill as it is, that is to leave all the people that they employ, leave on the wage, on the payroll, and cut pay today, and cut pay by July as they are planning. Trust me, by next year, by the time we reach May, June, July again, they will have to cut pay again. So at the end of the day, people pay will go down. Somebody that was making say 1,000, that pay will have to go down to around 600-700. And by doing so, in an environment where prices are going up, and where logically the only adjustment to the payroll is supposed to be an upward adjustment to account for the change in inflation. Even if you can't get the man pay up, you got to be able to give him what inflation is taking from him. And, you know, it is going to be a serious problem. So I think we really have to calm down and start thinking. Let's stop talking about all these things about the structuring agriculture sector, all these ones. Yeah, these are long-term things. But the real decisions that are killing the economy now is the way the government is managing the small resources that we're generating. From a technical perspective, we need to have a serious conversation about these things and start to think about the hard solution in order to solve this problem. Because we don't do that, Dylan, we are in a mess. And I'm saying this, and I'm saying it with this level of of vigor. It is because these are things that I've played with. I implemented reforms in Liberia, and besides some of the reform, in fact, I also advise other countries, Gambia, Sierra Leone. I work with colleagues from other countries in order to advise them on some of these reforms, and they are taking the right decision. They are doing the right things. But Liberia, where we have made significant progress up to 2017, all of our progress we made, they are all relapsed. We had a structure in place in the Ministry of Finance, Tax Management unit, basically to do the thorough analysis, working with the ministry so that you cannot have a ministry where, by being the minister come and exercise discretion whole day, and also that payments get made that are not planned, that are not on budget. As a result, that takes away from the ability of the budget to deliver its objective. We have to deal with all these issues. So, Dylan, too many things, but for me, frankly, let's forget about all these big economic things. These are the real practical issues that we are trying to avoid. We don't want to see it because it is the difficult decision that we don't want to take. If we do not take the difficult decision on managing the payroll and putting the payroll in order, this economy is going to go down on account of our inaction. It is going to go down on account of our inaction. So somebody somewhere listening needs to see this as a pretty much very honest and audacious call for somebody who understands exactly what the country is going through. And I tell you for free, there are so many of our colleagues in the Ministry of Finance that are aware of these things, but they can't talk. Because when you go to a meeting, as soon as you want to talk something, you have a 2 date. And when you blanket and you categorize professional people like that, you stifle democratization of ideas. People won't bring ideas together. People won't give you ideas because now everybody is afraid to give ideas that are contrary to what the minister is thinking.
Right.
If you have a minister where everybody's scared to give you ideas because their idea they want to get a different from what you're thinking, trust me, you are bound to fail. And the reason why, if you are in a country like Liberia, we should not pray for the failure of our Minister of Finance, because when the Minister of Finance fails, we all fail. We are all going to suffer. Eh? When the Minister of Finance fails, Minister Samuel is not going to go without a daily bread any single day.
Aliyu.
He's not going to go with,
Aliyu.
we can schedule another day. And because
There you have it. Folks, Samson told Labron Public Radio. I'm just thought that I show this young man again. Alio, his name. It makes so much sense. It's so brilliant. And one of the things when he was talking, I jogged down here, and those things have been reflected in Dr. Weir's speech, by the way. He said businesses are not getting paid. Dr. Weir talked about that. Okay. Payment is up. I mean, in other words, paying the pay bill, the employment bill, the wage bill is up. I mean, they're employing a lot of people. Public sector confidence is down, which is, and Dr. We have mentioned all of those things in his speech. And that's what I want you to go back again and listen to it for the second time. Okay, employment, it's all the way more people. So if you do that, and as he correctly stated, Dr. We addressed those things, by the way. So if you are somebody who like to read these things, go back and listen to the speech again, because I think when you go and listen to it for the second time, you will come away from there with something different than where you went in with before. Okay, because like I stated before, all of us we went into this thing here with a chip on our shoulder, so to speak. Yes, another thing I want to point out that is in the speech. Okay, Dr. Weir says here, he says in the speech, folks, he says he announced that in the next several days, government will begin to review all General Auditing Commission audits over the last 10 years. And anybody who is, and I'm just paraphrasing, I'm not reading it again, anybody who is found culpable, in other words, if you are involved and the government can prove you being involved and being criminally negligent, then perhaps they're going to take you to court. That's another one. Another big news out of this is that Dr. Weir is inviting IMF professionals to come to Liberia. This is where my prediction of Honorable Tua not holding on to the job much longer. This is one of the things that I stated before, and this is what happened. Because if you bring the professionals in, and Honorable Tua, we're going to have to give in to some of their suggestions. And Honorable Tua seems to be a very tough person to deal with. And so if he's not willing to give in, he's going to have to excuse himself. And this is what I'm suggesting now, right now as we speak, before this group, the IMF group comes in and try to supersede some of the things that Minister Tua is doing or what have you, and try to say, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong. Let Minister Tua, the fact that he cannot manage the affair of the $25 million, I think Minister Tua needs to get out and save Dr. Weah the embarrassment, because he's a friend to Dr. Weah. And Dr. Weah, as you know, he doesn't like to fire people who are friends, and not just friends. I'm an engineer. I do, and I'm working on some of the projects in Liberia. One of the rules is sets is that as we try, and it's difficult for me because I'm here in the United States and I'm trying to build a role in Monrovia without actually, because as an engineer, you have to do a site visit. And the only site visit I can do is to have people to do videotape and send it to me. Okay. And then I try to review the video based on my experience and things like that. So I can handle those things. But the point that I want to make with Dr. Weir is that he has made it clear to all engineers firms that you don't go into building the road and try to widen the road by knocking down properties, even if the property is on the right of way. So Dr. We have made it so difficult for everybody that involved in the road business, because especially if the road people build houses on top of the drainage system, so the drainage system is no longer functioning. Okay, so when the rain, the whole area get flooded because the drainage system that's supposed to take the water away is no longer doing its job. So you have, and these people are strictly building on the right of way. So, but he said you can't do that. So there was another video that they sent me. There was a road, and I'm not going to say what road, but they decided, okay, we're not going to knock people's houses down, but the grader grade the building, grade just on the side of the building, that the foundation is exposed. So how do they protect the foundation beside without putting the retaining wall? And if you put a retaining wall on it, instead of widening the road, you're not going to make the road much more narrow. You might not even get a 12-foot lane that is required. You might not even get the 11-foot lane that is required for construction. You might get 10, and 10 is not standard. Okay, so I just want to put those things in there. But having said that though, so Dr. Weir, he's not somebody that will just get us and fire people like Samuel Tua, who has been a friend for years. Okay, so I think Samuel Tua would do us a favor, knowing follow up, because he's responsible for the map ups exercise. He's a captain. I cannot exonerate him. He's the captain. If anything goes wrong, tell me, if you're the captain of a ship and something goes wrong, who do you think they're going to hold? You, the captain. So you can't say I'm the captain, but I wasn't on the deck when that thing happened. No, you're responsible still. The buck stopped with you, Mr. Tua. So I think Mr. Tua would do us a good favor if he can just excuse himself and he can talk to Dr. Weir. Look, Doc, I appreciate your friendship, but I don't want our friendship to be strained. Because if Dr. Weir fire him, their friendship is not going to be as much good as it is now. Because if he get fired publicly, there will be Liberians that will start saying things, meddling into their friendship. And I don't think Honorable Tua will understand that Dr. We are firing him to save the country from any other mess like this. So I think that Dr. Weir, why he's still keeping and have confidence in the finance minister, I think the finance minister need to come out and say, let me excuse myself and I will still be your friend, be in the background and try to advise you on monetary policy. And I think that would be a very good thing. But other than that, I don't see Tua lasting more than a month or so, because if this IMF program takes hold and the people that they're going to bring in, if they come in and they find out Dr. Honorable Tua oversee a program that is so flawed that even Samson, to who is not an accountant, can see people. You say you go buy money from money changer, and then you say you spend the money, you list it, and then people say, oh, the man giving nothing. I'm not part of that program. Then why are you saying that you are being vindicated? You are part of the problem. And because of your friendship with Dr. Weir, he's now putting you on the spotlight. Excuse yourself. Quietly excuse yourself. And let Dr. Weir get somebody else. And then you stay in the background and still advising Dr. Weir. And that's how you keep your friendship with somebody who is so loving. My opinion. Samson told Labrador Operator, I've opened my line. So I'm going to now quickly excuse myself. And and say thank you very much. You've been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful brothers and sisters. We appreciate it, and we thank you very much for joining us this evening. Please come in again. Mr. Soul will be on tomorrow, and I'm sure it will be much, much, much more interactive than what it is with me. Mr. So will be here tomorrow. You will have some reporter from Liberia going to be joining him, so it's going to be fresh. It's not overnight, Samson, or what have you. But join me Saturday morning. I will from now till Saturday. I will try to find one or two people who will be willing to join me to dissect Dr. Weir's speech, so that I'm not calling those who perhaps will agree with me. No, and I'm not putting in any kinds of some sort of caveat or whatever you want to call it in the road to say you have to be this and that. No, there's no qualification. Once you agree to come on to give your view, that's all count. We're here to have a discussion. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Samson told Labron Pabrito, I want to thank all of you again to say thank you very much. We will go ahead and excuse ourselves and say thank you. We really, really appreciate you guys have coming on here tonight and staying with us. It's such a blessing to have you guys. Not that you don't have anything to do, you have a lot to do. But yet still, you're tuning in. You see, I'm getting ready to close. Somebody just calling me now. Okay, let me just take that call. Samson to Labrador Public Radio. What's your name and where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Good evening, Samson. This is Zero Store.
Oh, good evening, Mr. CEO. We're just getting ready to close the show now. What's on your mind, sir?
How can you close the show when you are talking? How do you expect the audience to also make an input in such a volatile and issues that are engulf the nation? Okay, before you close, I'm over on the line here. I just want to make a few comments. What I noticed, and I kind of take your advice, I don't usually go along with you because you're such a liberal person. And one of the issues I want to point out here quickly, you're an engineer. And if you are saying Dr. Weir is suggesting, I even saw that video when you were making that sort of suggestion to the Public Works Minister, and the Public Works Minister, Yvonne, who is a good friend, the brother that I can say I know, I do not expect him to respond to the president, but I just thought at a lot of days we're going to sit down with the president. Okay, yeah, this is a chair. Get managed a ban. We're going to pull a safety measure here, put a sign here to indicate that, this is a residential area. I think that's a bad advice. And like what I'm hearing from you as well, I think if you are involved, then of course you want to also make an honest suggestion to the president. Look, there is no any kind of quick fix in order to get a quality. If you want to get a quality product, you have to do it the right way, especially when it comes to road construction. I'm not an engineer. I've seen a lot of the design. I've been visiting you and stuff like that. And you are a person of a principle. So if you have been asked and like you are voluntarily doing it now, I believe you should tell them if they want to find their own people, then that's okay because you are also putting your name, or you are also putting your name or your profession, online, at stake. Because if they will not listen to you as an extra or somebody that will make an honest suggestion, then they're making the job difficult. Then I guess this is the same old problem that is going there. But let me just go quickly to the speech today. I was one of the first person to jump on that speech today, and I was like, okay, wait, let me take a little deep breath and start going through it. And what I in different forms and different contexts. The traditional one. What we saw today, the first thing that came to mind, I shared that information with somebody, one of the professor. I said, is it usual for the president to address the nations and I have like an audio version? And then the prof said, what do you mean? I said, well, this is X, Y, Z going on, and the entire country or even neighbors, people I said they want to hear from the president. So what we have today, this is what we got. But interestingly, some of these ladies, people here, they have visited, they know much about our own country than ourselves. So the very first thing I've got, I said, well, my guess is this person's compulsory intent of speaking to the audience in public, there must be an issue. So when you see it like that, when it's tension-packed, in order to get the nation's attention, the better to go the way that the person will feel comfortable, so that they can read the body language, they can read or begin to go into the mind that this person was not comfortable in what they are doing. So I'm like, okay, I think this seems to make sense. But this is what I've come to realize. When he mentioned Venezuela, I think he was trying to draw the attention to place this whole thing in the hands of the international community. But the ironic side about it, this is the same very international community have been given letters that they can, and they went ahead using it without even getting consultation with this guy who he has trusted so much. So this whole thing is something not Petri, who happens to be the CBS manager or whatever the case, eventually now has become the sacrificial lamb of this whole thing to say that he's going to be retired in 3 months. But what I think Liberians are looking over was a quick proactive measures. We also listened to the president, the soundbite of Samuel Tuwet a couple of weeks ago, that you and I should bring our money and invest it into the banks in Liberia, and there will be some sort of guarantee, and that's the only way commercial banks will be more stronger and all of that. But and he's saying that in times to come, they're going to come up with a policy. I think there he went a little bit low because this is something that is long being hanging. All right, so when you want to do it where you were addressing the nation, this is where you want to put all of your best to capture the imaginations and your countrymen. Say that he didn't do, that he's going to come later, that later, we don't know. Now he's going to be bringing extra, and that's a very good point that you mentioned, that they're going to be bringing people to help, international auditors. So my question, will they audit his own record as well? Because these are things that my guess going to be in the opposition's argument. So would they release all of those records? And if they even come, if Samuel Twist still happens to be in the game, because not Petri now is the sacrificial line in the whole thing now is going to be the victim in 3 months to retire. If the dude come, will Samuel Twist, will he still be in charge of this economic team? Because you just said it right there. He is the head. And whatever happens in the interim while he is presiding over that situation, he should be held accountable. But we are placed into his playbook today as well to say nothing went missing. Even though you say nothing went missing, but yet and still, national CBO is on an investigation. They are questioning them. And he is the guy that was giving instructions to CBO. So what went wrong? Did he not give a specific instruction, or does he just grab this whole thing and then go ahead, do what he can do, and just send me the report? And so, if that is the case, then Samuel Tuwet should go with the 3 months retirement, as we're going to see that's going to happen to Matt Petri. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But that speech, there are a lot of things inside here, and we want to take our own time to go much deeper into it. But it was not a traditional, one of those traditional speeches usually that we see the president is delivering. But there are more questions still needs to be answered, and we are waiting to see in the next couple of 2-3 days or a week from now whether there will be some actions be taken. But I was not anticipating as something strange in terms of dismissal or reshuffling going to take place. Let's see from now to June 7, and after June 7, if the president, some of the commitments that he had made, they're going to come to pass. I just thought I'd bring in that, so I think that little contribution to such a great program tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Soga. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, folks, this is Sam Cito. As Mr. So correctly stated, I am an engineer, and I'm very much involved with the projects in Liberia, designing role here from Sacramento and sending it back there for people to work on. But this is what I do. I didn't go into this blind. I went into it knowing some of the folks that I'm working with, and I explained to them that there are certain things, certain criteria that I will not sacrifice, especially safety. If you ask me to do something, I will do the work, I will do the design with safety in mind. Now, if I'm done with the design and apply all the international standard that are required for something like Africa, okay, and I apply ISO design standard, and stuff like that, all of the safety criteria involved, I put those things in place and give you the drawing, which is the blueprint for which you should use to construct the road, and you decide to cut corners. I have my own the paper that I sent you. I have copy of it, and I have the date. So all of those things can be proved later on when I get back to Liberia and the people didn't build it correctly. I can have a press conference and these are things that I put out. Why is it they're not there? So I can do that. But that's besides the point. As far as the minister is concerned, I think he's going to have a problem. He's going to have a problem seriously, and I would suggest again that as a friend of Dr. Weir, you need to resign. Look at it. Let me just read this to you. This is coming from what do you call it? Executive Mansion website. Soon, he said, we will welcome, that is Dr. Weir's speech. I'm reading here, and this is a quote. Soon, we will welcome a team from the International Monetary Fund coming to create an IMF program tailored for Liberia. Such a program will help us to take the needed step to stabilize our economy, restore confidence in our currency, and other technical assistance to continue to service social service. So you have a technical team that's going to need a technical assistant. Do you see Samuel Tuer taking a bike seat and let the European or whoever going to be coming from IMF, foreigner, most of the time when IMF sending people, they usually send Africans. Do you see Samuel Tuer taking a bike seat of not being the captain of this team and somebody else is managing it? That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one. So to avoid all of the embarrassment, I think Samuel Tuer should resign and let somebody else is take it over, and then that way that will coincide with the folks that are coming to help. They're coming in and they have a fresh hair at the Minister of Finance, and they can also help immediately to say, okay, this, because there will be no struggling. Because Samuel 12 already has his feet planted in the ministry. Samuel 12 have already put in place some programs. He already put those programs in place. And I'm not accounting. I don't know anything about finance. When I see those programs, I think they're wonderful. But people are trained economy sees these programs and said these are flawed. We don't think they're going to help you. Now, if Dr. Weir keeps Samuel 12, and those kinds of suggestions come from IMF group, what will he say? Will he accept IMF to overrule Samuel 12, or will he back Samuel 12? This is going to be a very, very dicey situation. And once again, I'm predicting that Samuel 12 will not last long, because not so much of his qualification and what have you. I know he's highly educated, he's very good, but the matter here is he is unable to manage the affair of the map up program, and it's causing too much problem. In fact, the Justice Minister, if you have been reading, they already invited people to investigate more. Sam Sinto, Labron Public Radio, I want to thank all of you again this evening. Okay, let me just, since I have a few more minutes, let me just read a little bit. Dylan said that the speech not make sense. Okay, that's to him, but for me the speech makes sense. Okay, reply. Those guys don't love this. Okay, well, I'm not gonna read it. These are people's opinion. I'm not gonna read it. Okay, folks, this is Samson to Labron Pub Radio. I want to thank all of you again. Let me just do this one more time, and then I'll play the music that will take us home this evening. Samson to Labron Pub. Watch the station manager of LPR on the floor, folks. The station manager. This is the man who put all of our programs together. This is the man. If something happened in my program right now in Sacramento, he's in Philadelphia. He will put it together very quickly. Nathaniel Cryport is on the floor. And then immediately after that, the CEO himself, the guy that just spoke, you will see him on the floor. Alfonso So. Nathaniel Cryport first. Let's play.
Block it, block it!
Folks, there is the station manager and the CEO of LPR. LPR will not always all on TV here and that. We have fun just to show you. So let me go ahead and close this program. I want to thank all of you again tonight for staying with us. We really appreciate it. This is Samson Toll, LIBERIA Radio. I will say good night to all of you. It's been a wonderful one. They're trying to fire me already, folks. This is coming from the CEO. This Samson guy will definitely go. It's not your number, please. Okay, my number is right there. 916-913-1236. Let me wait for the phone call and see if you're going to be calling me, Leroy. If you're going to be calling me, that's my number. But if you want my private number, not the show number, the number is 916-533-2048. All right, let me go. If you call me, I'll cut the music and go back to it. Let me go ahead and close it. Say good night to all of you folks. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. We say thank you very much. And please tune in tomorrow for Mr. Soul Show. And then be back again Friday or Saturday for sure. I'm going to start looking for people to join me here to have a serious discussion about the speech. Please go and read the speech again, and you will find that this speech is wonderful. People everybody can criticize it. I'm not holding you for anything. Samson Toll. Good night, folks.
Mix International. See, I tell you what.